Hey, what's up, guys? Got a leg workout for you, and this is good too because you guys saw a push workout, a pull workout, and now you're gonna get a leg workout. That's pretty much my routine. I'll do that cycle, and then the next day I'll just do a kind of a rest slash accessory day with cardio, where I just do biceps, abs, calves, and 30 minutes of cardio. But here is one of my leg workouts. I kind of split between two different ones, but this is the first one that I usually do. I always start with squats. And one thing that I have switched with my squats, I used to low bar squat, but I actually recently changed to now. If you notice, I'm high bar squatting. And the reason why I changed to high bar squats is, as you'll notice, I'm wearing squat shoes. Those are Adidas Adi Powers, which I love, by the way. Thanks to my boy Chris Lovato. But anyways, I've just found that with the squat shoes and going high bar, I find that it's much easier for me to sit back with those shoes and drive with my heels. Also, another thing that I love about high bar is um, by not having to have the bar so low on my back, I can take a much narrow grip on the bar, which is so much easier on my shoulders and my wrists. That's one thing that I used to hate with low bar. I used to have to wear wrist wraps just because it would put so much strain on my wrists, and also too it would just really, really, really pull on my shoulders, and it just did not feel good. The downside to the high bar is I've had to lower the weight. I don't want to say a huge amount, but I mean I've definitely had to lower the weight, probably a good 20% of what I usually do. But today was more of a hypertrophy focused day, so I was kind of shooting for the most part, trying to get close to 8 reps on most exercises. So, like I said, still being able to rep, 3 plates, being 10 weeks out isn't horrible. On a power focused day, if I was going like 3 to 5 reps, I can get up to 365 for 5 or close to 4 plates for 3. Also, too, those are Ray-Ban knee sleeves that I'm wearing. Those are really, really popular among powerlifters, and I know so many other bodybuilders that wear those. Those are one great thing, guys. If you don't have any knee sleeves, I highly recommend them. They're not like a knee wrap where they're gonna like give you any spring at the bottom. What they're basically for is just support and keeping the knee joint nice and warm. Oh man, these feel so amazing for squats and also hack squats, like I'm going into next. Like I said, just for these two movements that put a lot of stress on the knee joint. These things are just so nice to have. Like I said, it just makes everything feel so much smoother and easier on the knees. So here's me doing hack squats. We have one of those hack squats where you definitely can't load a lot of weight on it. I've tried some hack squats at different gyms where you can load up 5, 6 plates. This is definitely not one of them. This is one where it's like 3 plates feels like a goddamn truck trying to push that thing. Anyways, here's a different angle. I think I'm up to 2 plates on each side. And like I said, this by no means is like easy. I think I went up to you'll see my next 2 sets. I go up to 2 plates and a 25, and that was after squats especially. It was pretty damn hard. But like I said, this is the my first leg workout. My first 2 exercises I focus on squats, and then I go into hack squats. My second leg workout that I'll do later in the week, I'll usually start with sumo deadlifts, and then I'll go into front squats. So it gives me kind of a nice variation of 2 different kind of leg workouts with 2 different kind of focuses. Also, too, the belt that I'm wearing that you saw with my squats, and I'll usually wear a belt on my heavier sets of hack squats too, just to keep the low back nice and supported. That is an Enzor Forever Lever Belt. Another item that is very popular among powerlifters and kind of among the I swear I must have like, I don't even know, it seems like probably more than like 20 plus friends that all have that belt. And it, oh my gosh, like before I got that belt, I was using a $20 bodybuilding.com belt since probably like 2007 that gave me obviously like no support, and I didn't realize like the benefit of what a good belt would do. So I remember I used my buddy's as soon as he ordered his, and I was just like, are you kidding me? I literally went home that night and ordered mine just because it was like, if you're a person that if you're really focusing on things like squats, deadlifts, I mean, a belt like that makes such a dramatic difference. So I highly recommend, guys, if you're not using a nice belt, I really highly recommend stepping up your game and getting a really good belt. That belt that's a 10 millimeter. They also have a 13 millimeter, but from what I was told, unless you're like a really serious like hardcore power lifter, you don't need a 13 millimeter. A 10 millimeter should be fine, and that's what I have. And like I said, it's great. And I think the belt ran about, with shipping and everything, it was about $90. So, like I said, a belt like that, I mean, this could probably last me the rest of my my lifting career. So it's totally worth it. All right, guys, going into the next exercise, and this is an exercise that I once again bring up my boy Chris Lovato. He kind of introduced these to me. These are dumbbell, call them more of a Romanian deadlift. I'm not doing a stiff leg deadlift. I'm kind of like bending more at the hips and a little more bend in the knee. One thing that I did add to it that I saw like on a video on RX Muscle where a guy puts, see how I put those plates above, or I'm standing on two 10-pound plates, kind of elevating my toes. It's one thing I saw on a video where a guy did, and it does seem like it just kind of gives you a little bit more of a stretch. So I've been kind of liking it and rolling with it. But the one thing I emphasize with these is just to make sure, the biggest thing is when you go back, like right here, I stop right before my back rounds. That's the biggest thing. What that does is, so I'm stopping, it's all stretching the hamstring. I'm not using my lower back. The one thing you see a lot of people do is they round their back, and so when they push back up, they're using their lower back to push the weight. Whereas this, I feel this all in my hamstrings. Like, again, a great stretch right there, and it's just all hamstring focus. I personally feel this movement is so much better with the dumbbells. I think a lot of it might have to do with keeping the dumbbells kind of closer to your sides like that, the angle. With the barbell, obviously it's going to be different. The bar is kind of more out in front of you. So give these a shot if you've never tried them with dumbbells. I've had a bunch of friends try them and they're like, "Oh my gosh, I'm getting way better contractions down with the dumbbells." Like I said, this has been like my bread and butter kind of mass gaining exercise for the hamstrings that I did like most of my off season, and I've been implementing these all during prep. Here's another new exercise that I haven't done much of in the past, but I've kind of implemented this prep. These are just, I made a video a while back kind of showing you guys just a short clip of them, and that's just a one-legged leg press. Why one-legged, you ask? It's just I think it's a little bit easier on the low back, after you've done your squats, your hack squats. I just did my Romanian deadlifts. My low back's pretty taxed at this point. So going in and trying to do 10 to 12 plus plates on the leg press, it's just that much more taxed on my low back. So this is just a nice way to still get the benefit of the movement and to also kind of ease up on the stress of the low back. And plus, it's just nice to actually just sit there and isolate one leg at a time. You can really slow down the movement. One thing to focus on while you're doing this, you're seeing my toe raise up. That's just because I'm making sure that I'm driving the weight with my heels. You'll notice if you start putting the pressure on your toes, that's where it puts a lot of strain on the knee joint. and that's what you don't want. So make sure when you're doing these, you're driving with your heel, and that's why it's easier for me. I just kind of lift my toes up like that, so it's making sure that I'm driving with the heel. Like I said, I try to get a good range of motion where I'm, my quad's pretty much touching my chest. But yeah, this has been another kind of favorite movement of mine that I've been throwing in a lot. I still do 2 plates sometimes on my other leg day. But lately, like I said, I've been just kind of doing this. Another nice thing too is you don't have to load the damn thing, 10 plates on each side, and then have to unrack the damn thing. That's one thing I always hate about doing a lot of leg, heavy leg presses, is having to load up all the plates, and then when you're done, you're like, oh, you got to take them all off. This is just nice because the most I've done on this is like on my power days where I'm going to like less reps. I'll usually go up to like 3 plates on each side, so it's just so quick to take 3 plates off. A couple other exercises that I've been trying to implement that I'm kind of really lazy in the past is lunges. Lunges is one of those movements that, oh man, they just feel so awkward for me. Like they don't feel right, and so I've never really had them as a staple in my routine. But I've been trying to make myself do them. Usually I do them at the end of my leg workout. But like I said, they're just one of those movements that, man, I just kind of feel like kind of awkward with my. I don't know if it's because of my body structure or something like that. But like I said, guys, I'm trying to keep those in. I also do not as much, but your typical leg curls, leg extensions, stuff like that. Like I said, I separate my calves. I do my calves on my accessory day. So that's why, because I usually I hate the one thing if you're trying to build your calves, and you're doing them on your leg day. I mean, if you're doing all this stuff first, by the time you get to calves, you're going to be so taxed. So that's why I like, just not that I really trying to bring up my calves, but it's good to do them on a day where they're more fresh. All right, moving on. This is a favorite machine of mine for just isolating the hamstrings. This is just a unilateral one leg leg press, or sorry, leg curl. So it almost feels like, think of like a bicep curl, but for your hamstrings. One thing that I do like to focus on that I didn't do in the past that I got a nice tip from, I think it was Mike Newman. Anyways, though, it's kind of slowing this movement down. Think of like a 1, 2, 3 count up, and then a 1, 2, 3 count negative. That's one thing that I noticed made a big difference, especially in the contractions and stuff like that, is just slowing down the movement and getting a really good squeeze at the top, and then slowing down the negative. I usually rotate these with a seated leg curl. That's another machine that I like. But this one, like I said, this is probably one of my favorites though, because it's just so nice to sit there and isolate the hamstring. Another movement that I highly recommend that I haven't implemented much this prep, but I wish I would have, is oh man, glute ham raises. If you've never tried a glute ham raise, oh my gosh, like your hamstrings feel like jello when you're done. Usually, this was my last exercise. And so usually after this, like I said, I would usually do some lunges. This night I didn't. Usually when I'm done with this, I like to do a couple of at least 1 or 2 kind of glute focus exercises. So I went upstairs and I did the glute, what is it, the abductor and adductor machines. I did a couple sets of those. And then also there's a machine kind of right in front of this. I don't know what it's called, where you're kind of like bending over and you're pushing back with a single leg. It's another kind of glute target machine. That was another kind of tip that I got from a great natural pro bodybuilder, Ryan Dorse. Is he kind of said that people kind of lack, um, you know, I mean the glute's a muscle too, and when you see a great impressive pair of glutes on stage like his, I mean it really sticks out. You see too many guys that right away on stage it's almost like their glutes like indent just because they don't have the muscle, and so it's like when you see an impressive pair of glutes, it really makes a big difference on stage. So I've been trying to kind of throw in some extra glute isolation exercises to make sure that that my glutes are a standout body part as well. All right, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video.